welcome to Freedom Pilates. My name is Kath and I'm joined today by Saskia. We are doing a fundamentals class today. This class is going to be focused on finding more length in your body. We're going to be assuming that you're really relatively new to the reformer, so we're going to take a bit of extra time really helping you get familiar with the setup. We're going to start with an exercise called footwork. You're going to start with the foot bar at what we would call a relatively medium position. We're going to start on 2 red springs. Now for this exercise, it really is very individual to body weight as well as individual strength. We are not looking to be pushing through a lot of weight. So if you're a little bit on the lighter side or you tend to have potentially a little bit less conditioned legs, you may want to go as light as 1 red, 1 yellow or 1 red, 1 green. Have a lay down onto your back, Saskia. To get down onto your back, you tend to want to bring your feet over the foot bar to begin with. Shuffle yourself down so the shoulders are just in front of the shoulder rest, head on the headrest. Then once you're ready, you can bring your heels up onto the foot bar. I always like to take a moment before we get started to literally just bring awareness and attention to your body. Take a moment to check to see that you are actually in the center of the carriage, and take a moment to relax into this position. You can take a couple of breaths in and out and use the breath in to create a sense of openness through the body. Use the breath out to feel a sense of just relaxing and connecting the back of the body with the carriage. When you're ready, I want you to press through the heels. I want you to send the carriage out nice and long. I want you to hold the carriage out here for a moment, Saskia, and the first thing I want you to do is check in with the resistance that the springs are providing. I want you to feel that there is a little bit of effort that you're pushing into those springs, but I want you to check that you don't feel like you're really being pushed up into the shoulder rest, that it's too uncomfortable through the shoulders. If it is, jump up and change the spring tension, make it a little bit lighter for you. As long as you're comfortable at that spring tension, I want you to start to think about growing as tall as you possibly can. So see if you can put a little bit more energy of the heels almost pushing through the foot bar, sending the foot bar a little bit further away. See if you can send the carriage a little bit further to the wall behind. As you find length through the body there, maintain that awareness of length as you bring the carriage back home. Press through the heels to send the carriage long. Stay long through the spine and bring the carriage back home. You get to continue to press out and in here. At this stage, just really feel a sense of ease in the movement. Enjoy the sense of how smooth it feels to be moving on the carriage. Let go of the sense of having to use excess effort to really push the carriage out. Enjoy the sense of really opening the front of the body, being able to grow as tall as you can. We'll do 2 or 3 more there. And when the carriage is next in, I want you to pause there. I want you to change to the balls of the feet. Now the balls of the feet, a lot of people think of as the heels. It's actually the pads right under the toes. So I want you to bring them down onto the foot bar there. Let's find the heel position that I want here. So let your heels drop completely to the floor, feel that there's no energy at all. Then raise all the way onto tippy toes. Then drop about halfway down here. So there's a little bit of energy, but you're not all the way on tippy toes. Try to maintain that energy there, send the carriage out nice and long. Once again, pause and just see if you can grow a little bit taller. Enjoy really stretching out there. Maintain that awareness of length as you bring the carriage back home. Pressing out and in here, we often get asked, what is the right speed? It's a tricky one to answer. You want to go slow enough that your body can really feel what's going on, feeling the movement, feeling the opening, but not so slow that you're not actually getting energy into the tissues. The pace that Saskia is going is really nice. She's going to be able to feel what's happening through her spine lengthening. She's going to feel a little bit of energy coming into her legs, but she's not pumping so fast that she's not actually feeling what's happening. When the carriage is next in, I want you to pause. You're going to keep the balls of the feet where they are, but I want you to bring your heels together to meet in the midline. We call this position Pilates V. It's like our feet are making a V shape. We're going to aim to keep those heels just ever so gently pressing together. The knees are just wider than the shoulder rest. Press the carriage out long. Feel the inner thighs draw closer together as you do so. Then bring the carriage back home. As you press out and in here, you're going to start to feel a little bit like a ballerina. One of the first things that you may notice is that for a lot of people in this position, it will cause a real arching of the back. The lower back starts to really lift off. If, to avoid this position, you may need to shorten your range a little bit. You may not completely straighten your legs initially. Just play and bring awareness to it at this stage. I will say this multiple times throughout the Fundamentals program. Remember, this isn't about perfection. You are not going to hurt yourself if you go into slightly the wrong position. At this stage, I just want you bringing awareness to how your body moves. As you progress through your Pilates practice, you'll start to really change your awareness and start to explore different ways of moving. 2 more here. And when the carriage is next in, I'm going to get you to bring your heels back onto the foot bar, but I want you to step your feet out a little bit wider here. So it's like you're in a wide squat position. The knees can go out as wide as is comfortable for you. You're going to send the carriage out nice and wide, and then bring the carriage back home. Each time you send the carriage out wide, you're once again trying to think about stretching as tall as you possibly can. As you bring the carriage back in, you aim to bring it in as close to the stoppers as possible, but do it with control. Resist the temptation of really banging up against that stopper. As you get more familiar with your reformer, you'll start to become really familiar with the length of the carriage so that you can really start to find this smooth glide of how far you press out as well as how far you return back in. 2 more here. Then bring the carriage back in and pause. I want you to bring the feet back in right close towards the midline, and we'll go to the balls of the feet on the foot bar here. I want you to press the carriage out long, and this time I want you to imagine that you're standing on tippy toes. You want to think that you're trying to reach something at the back of the top shelf of the cupboard. Stretch as tall as you can. Then I want you to ever so gently start to reach the heels away from you and under the foot bar. The balls of the feet stay connected to the foot bar. The heels are stretching long. You get this lovely long stretch along the back of the calves. Raise back up onto tippy toes. Then I'll reach the heels long. Raising onto tippy toes, then reach the heels long. Now by now, some of you will be really starting to question, should I be contracting through certain muscles? Should I be thinking where my back is? I want you to forget about all of that at this stage. I want you to just enjoy feeling movement in your body, enjoy feeling the support of the reformer, enjoy exploring how the springs give you feedback and support through movement. 2 more here. And when you're ready, you can bend the knees, bring the carriage back in. We're going to go to an exercise called feet in straps. Now this can be a little bit daunting initially, but I promise over time you're going to grow to love this exercise. I'm going to talk you very carefully through how to get into the position. To begin with, we are going to change the spring tension. I'm going to get you to start with 1 red, 1 green spring. Once again, if you're a little bit on the lighter side, some people will want to go down to 1 red, 1 yellow, so feel free to jump up and change it according to what feels good for you. Have a lay back down onto your back. The first thing I want you to do is to find your shoulder rests. I want your hands to walk down the shoulder rests, and behind them you're going to find your pegs. On those pegs will be your hand loops. Take those loops off the pegs and hold them in each hand. Your heels are on the foot bar. You're going to press through the heels so the carriage goes long to the wall behind. You're going to bring one leg off the foot bar, bring the knee into the chest, and pop the strap around the foot. Now we go for the long loop, and we want to bring that strap around the arch of the foot closer to the heels and the toes. Now, what I want you to feel is that if you push a little bit into that strap becomes taut. It's like you're now standing on that strap. That allows you to bring the other foot off the foot bar, bring it into the chest, and that foot can go, or strap can go into the foot. Press both legs away. Now it's important just to double check here. If you've measured your straps up onto those loops, they should be the same length, but every now and again there can be changes. So you want to feel that they feel like they're the same length for your legs. If they feel slightly different, I know it's a pain, but it's worth getting up and changing them, because by the end of your series of exercises, it'll feel like one side has worked a lot harder than the other. Now I want you to start with both feet and knees together. It's like the legs are working like one unit. You're going to bend your knees in towards your chest, and you'll come to what we call a 90-90 position. It's called 90-90 because the hip is bent to 90 degrees and the knees are bent to 90 degrees as well. I like to come to a position where those straps and loops are resting just on their shins there. Start by just bringing attention to your breath here. And I tell you to bring attention to your breath here because I want you to try and relax into this position. Most people don't spend their life with their legs hanging in the air in straps. It can feel quite daunting initially. So I want you to let go of the sense of fear. Check in with your fingers, let go of any tension, let the back of the body just relax and think, it's okay, I am supported here. We're going to start with really small movements to begin with. I am going to cue you into your breath here because it can give you support. But if you're finding the breath connection a little bit overwhelming, don't worry about it, just focus on where you're moving from. Saskia, I'm going to get you to start with a breath in. Take a breath in to prepare. As you breathe out, I want you to reach your feet away from you. Imagine that you're trying to reach over the foot bar towards the wall opposite you. Then as you breathe in, bring the legs back into that 90-90 position. Breathe out to send the legs long and away. Breathe in to come back in. I'm going to get you to continue moving there, Saskia, as I talk through a few things that you may want to bring attention to. If you are a little bit lighter weight, if you don't have a lot of strength through your hamstrings, for some people they'll really find it hard to keep their buttocks down heavy on that carriage. If you feel like you're really lifting up through the buttocks and you're having, thanks Saskia, you're really having trouble keeping it down, I would suggest you jump up, take the green spring off and start with just one red spring. The other thing I want you to really bring awareness to is the fact that this spine should be staying relatively flat on the carriage. I don't necessarily want you thinking that you have to push it down into the carriage, but as you send the legs away, you really want to resist the temptation of arching the back too much as well. So think that it just stays nice and quiet as you press the legs away and then bring them back in. We'll do 3 or 4 more there. There is a lot of variety of ways that we can use our legs in this position. Today, I really just want you getting comfortable, getting in and out of the straps, feeling that little bit of movement here, getting familiar with what springs are going to work for you. When you're ready, bring the knees back into the chest. I'm going to talk you through how to get out of the position. So I want you to take the strap off one foot. Hold that strap in your hand and let that foot find the foot bar. Now remember, it's the foot bar not down to the platform that I want you to find. You can then take the other strap off the other foot, let that foot find this foot bar, then you'll pop those straps back around the pegs. Now, because this is something new, I'm going to get you to practice doing that again there, Saskia. So to get into the position, we find the straps, we press the carriage back. One knee comes in towards the chest, you'll hook the strap over. You put a bit of tension to press into that strap so you're standing on that strap. The other knee comes in. Hook that strap over, send the legs long and away. Press out and in there a couple of times as if you're doing the exercise. Then to come out of the straps, the knees come into the chest. We take one strap off. That foot finds the foot bar. Keep hold of that strap, take the other strap off. That foot finds the safety of the foot bar. Then we put the straps away. It is worth playing with that. Initially, you may feel that you need a little bit of assistance, particularly if you're a little bit restricted through the hips. I promise you, you will become more confident with that over time. When you're ready, I'm going to get you to have a stand-up, Saskia. We're going to move to an exercise now called our dart exercise. To begin with, I'll get you to come down to just one yellow spring. We're going to go nice and light here. I'm also going to get you to bring your foot bar all the way out of the way for this exercise. We're going to use the box for this exercise. So I'll get you to grab the box, and it takes a little bit of time to get used to the box. As instructors, we will talk about a short box and a long box. They're the same box. Saskia, can you show the short box position? Short box is when we put it into this orientation onto the carriage. For this start exercise, we're going to put it into long box position, so we put it long ways onto the carriage. We're going to be coming to lay onto our belly on the box here. Now, if you tend to wear clothing that's a little bit slippery, for this exercise, sometimes you can end up sliding a little bit. A little bit of a handy hint here. If you get on and you find that you're being pushed back, you can just use your TheraBand to create a little bit of friction. You can just lay this across the box before you lay down. It creates a little bit of friction. It tends to stop you pushing back. We're going with a light spring here. You're unlikely to be pushed back off, but as you get through some of the exercises, you'll find that that little bit of TheraBand can really help with connection. To safely get onto the box, I want you to approach the box from this end because we're going to be facing the foot bar. I want you to bring your hands to the end of the box here, Saskia, and I want you to lay your trunk down onto the box to start with. We then bring the legs up and over. We can wiggle ourselves forward. We'll have the very base of the breastbone, the lowest ribs, just at the end of the box. The legs are reaching long and behind. You can then bring your hands down to rest onto the platform. Now, this exercise in itself can be quite an interesting one. Most of us do not spend a lot of time in this lengthened, extended position. So please go into it easily, and I'll give you a few little tips as to how to, I guess, minimize the stress as you're learning to come into this position. The first thing I want to highlight is that we're once again really focusing on length. So we're thinking, and Saskia's doing a great job here, of making ourselves as long as possible. To make ourselves long, we're thinking of the top of the head reaching long to the wall in front. At the same time, we're thinking of the legs reaching long to the wall in behind. For some people, this will automatically bring a little bit of much tension into our lower back. So if you find you're really cramping through here, you are able to let your legs soften a little bit down towards the floor to take the load out until you're ready to take that load. With your hands onto the platform, I'm going to get you to start to press the platform away from you. The box and the carriage, the whole body, will move back to the wall behind. This is a nice light spring. It's just going to give you a chance to really find connections here. Feel the sense that you're in that lovely long line. Push the box, push the platform a little bit further away. Feel the shoulder blades start to creep up towards the ears. Small movements here. Ever so gently let the shoulders release back towards the hips. Let the carriage come in 2 to 3 inches. Push the platform away, shrug the shoulders up, gently release the shoulders down. As you're working through here, once again, remember, this may be the first time you're on the reformer. It may be the 5th time you're on the reformer. What I really want you focusing on is just starting to explore the movements with curiosity. We're not aiming for perfection. We're just starting to get comfortable with moving through different ways. We're thinking of finding a little bit more length through the body, thinking that each time the shoulder blades release down to the feet, the carriage, the top of the head, reaches a little bit further forward to the wall in front. 2 more here. Then when you are ready, bring the carriage all the way back in. To get off the box, hands come back onto the front of the box. We slide the legs off the side. Do watch the feet don't get caught on the ropes behind. We can press ourselves back up into standing. You're welcome to give the lower back a little bit of a stretch by popping the hands onto the box and the hips back and behind, and just breathe into the small of the back. The back extension work, as I say, is something that can be quite new to a lot of people. Sometimes the back can have a little bit of a tantrum initially, so we just have to work into it slowly. The last exercise we're going to cover off today is an exercise called chest expansion. I'm going to get you to add a green spring here. So you'll be on 1 green, 1 yellow spring. We're going to keep the box here, but we're going to come to sit on the box, this time facing away from the foot bar. So you'll come to sit on the box here, your feet will come to rest onto the headrest. I'm going to get you to reach forward and grab hold of the loops, take them off the straps, and I'm going to get your hands to go into the short loops. The fingers will be pointing down to the earth and the palms are facing back and behind. Now, once again, we're focusing on length through this exercise here. So as you're sitting here, I want you to think of the feet reaching down to the earth. I want you to feel what we call the sit bones, the buttocks reaching down into the box. Feel that they're really grounding down, which is going to help the top of the head float a little bit higher to the ceiling. We're now going to feel our connections through our hands. I want the fingers spread wide. I want you thinking that these fingers are a little bit like tree roots. They're reaching down into the earth. Feel that the more that they reach down into the earth, the more tension you get onto the ropes, the taller you can grow as a tree. I want you putting a little bit of energy pressing the hands back into those straps, and I want you to just hold and breathe in this position for a moment. The real key thing that I want you feeling here is not necessarily movement through the body, but rather that connection that when you stand tall into those straps, you're able to feel that internal lift from the centre. You feel like you're really active here, even though it looks like Saskia is doing absolutely nothing at all. Feel the ribs lift up and out of the hips, grow as tall as you can. Take a couple more breaths there. Then when you're ready, release those straps, pop them back around the pegs. Well done. That was your first fundamentals class. We've gone through a few different positions that you'll be working through on the reformer, a few of our very basic exercises, a very brief introduction to really feeling what it feels like to work through length. At this stage, remember, I don't expect you to have perfection. I don't expect you to even really be thinking about where you're connecting through. I just want you starting to get really familiar with exploring this new way of moving on your reformer. I hope you enjoyed that class. I'll see you again in another class to explore some more exercises soon. Have a great day.